best believe there will be a referendum. And we will continue working to ensure that what we have presented today, in consultation with women of Kenya, beyond the political leadership, we have consulted the women of Kenya. And we have even gone to counties and activated our document to be able to feel what the women of Kenya at the grassroots are saying. And majority of the women we spoke to agreed with the parameters we have brought today. Number two, it's not only about political leadership. You've heard, we've talked about food security. We've talked about health. We are talking about housing for women. This big language of big four, where is the women's voice in it? So even as you look at everything, I want you to remember, much as this movement is led by political women, we are beyond the political space. However, we insist that on that table that will be created, women's voice and presence must be included. As our document says, lastly, the reason why we want women leadership is because of what women can do. And because we had 3 governors and now we have 2, I will use this opportunity of the limelight to say what Governor Waiguru has done in Kirinyaga County since she became governor. Number 1, she has built 8 markets in the 1.5 years she has been a governor. She has manned 200 kilometers of roads to facilitate women to get their produce to those markets. She has moved water, her biggest Mwea water project, moved water 40 kilometers to the drier parts of Kirinyaga, that now 50,000 households have water in their homes. Governor Ngilu initiated her own UHC. Not government, not what, her own. She has brought water and a dengue revolution. And when I mean dengue, I mean dengue. For long, Ukambani was not supposed to grow anything. They are now growing dengue, and I think it's one of the best dengue. Yesterday, Kitui County, under the leadership of Governor Ngilu, delivered their first textile to national administration. Uniforms. They are stitching uniforms at textile factory and uniform plant set up by Governor Ngilu that is now doing business with government, with administration. And she has provided for her young people ballast crushers so that for days they are not doing what we have always seen them do. That is what women leadership is, and I thank you.
Thank you, our cast. Women power. Women power! Now I call upon our host, woman rep for Nairobi.
Chair of the BBI and all the members of the BBI, I will share the portion on the inclusivity in the legislature at the national and county levels. The Constitution of Kenya 2010 is unequivocal on the need to have 2/3 gender rule observed in the composition of the Senate and the National Assembly. Currently, the composition of the parliament does not meet the gender threshold to the detriment of women, and there is a need for full implementation of the Constitution to protect the gains of women enshrined within the 2010 Constitution by ensuring the implementation of the 2/3 gender rule in the composition of the National Assembly and Senate. We are of the considered and informed opinion that the challenge in that issue above can be achieved through the following options. 1, 50-50 mixed member proportional representation in the legislature. Mixed member voting systems are growing in popularity around the world as a method of proportional voting for determining the makeup of legislative chamber. This system ensures that people have representatives of their specific constituencies in the legislature who should be primarily concerned with the local issues and concerns. In addition to this local representation, the mixed member proportional representation makes sure that the party that has the most support, nation or region-wide, also has a majority of seats in the legislature. That the mixed member proportional representation, that with mixed member proportional representation, a certain number of seats in the legislature is set aside for constituency representatives. Another set of seats is held reserved for individual parties. These seats are used as accountability seats to compensate for unfair and unbalanced partisan results in the constituency elections. With a mixed member proportional representation, a certain number of seats is set aside for representatives. These seats are used as accountability seats to compensate for unfair and balanced gender representation. Thus, we propose amendment to reduce geographical constituencies by 50%, and the extra 50% seats anchored in the Constitution will be filled through party lists comprising the names of candidates based on a zebra list of female, male, female, male. We acknowledge that elections through party lists is already part of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, as it is used to fill the 12 special interest seats in Parliament. Women recommend that Parliament should enact regulations that seal the loopholes exploited by some political parties and their leadership to nominate their family members, relatives, friends, and cronies at the expense of merit and those who have dedicated their time, resources, and energy campaigning for such political parties, only to be betrayed at the altar of nepotism and favorism. Indeed, by filling the proposed 50 seats through the party list, the country shall have a more realistic method of achieving gender balance. We are of the informed position that election through proportional representation electoral system is a popular and time-tested method of translating electoral support into parliamentary seats the world over. We observe that under the proportional representation electoral system, a list is presented to the Electoral Commission before the general election date, and once the results are known, the targeted seats are allocated to the parties and filled in proportion to the member of the seats garnered. For instance, if a party wins half of the seats, it will be entitled to fill 50% of the party list seats, and the gender to fill them would depend on how many seats were won by men and women in the different elections. We have an alternative point of view and proposal in the event that the country does not change its current electoral system or retains the first past the post system electoral system. Then, the presidential candidate with the second greatest number of votes in the general election or runoff and running mate to become the leader of the Senate and the National Assembly, respectively. There should be direct election of Senate, retaining 16 seats for women and 4 for special interest seats. Delegation vote to be with elected senator, but in consultation with the county delegation. The nominated, that is mostly women, senators, to be given power to vote in matters of national interest and not to be caged or curtailed by their nominating authorities in the name of unquestionable loyalty to the political party. We propose a constitutional amendment on Articles 90, 97, and 98 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 in order to achieve the not more than 2/3 of either gender rule in the Senate and National Assembly. This can be easily achieved by importing the constitutional formula in Article 177(1)(b) and 2, which provide that a county assembly consists of the number of special seat members necessary to ensure that not more than 2/3 of the membership of the assembly is of the same gender, and 2, the members contemplated in clause 1B shall in each case be nominated by political parties in proportion to the seats received in that election in that county by each political party under paragraph A in accordance with Article 90. Article 90 of the Constitution be amended in clause 2A, which provides that each political party
has a long way to go in the election of women. Thus, our strong defense of the gains of women in the 2010 Constitution. Inclusivity in the executive. We observe that our nation has, since the introduction of multi-party politics, experienced this divisive elections and political turbulence. The first past the post electoral system in Kenya, characterized by the winner-take-it-all mentality and mania, has been problematic, as evidenced in the elections of 1991, 1992, 1997, 2007, 2008, 2013, and 2017. Pre- and post-election violence. To enhance peace, stability, cohesion, and integration of the 44+ communities in Kenya, we make the following proposals and recommendations. Number 1, the expansion of the presidency and executive, with more seats at the top to provide for president, deputy president, prime minister, and 2 deputy prime ministers, through amendment of Chapter 9 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 to provide for functions, swearing in, removal, remuneration, and the benefits of the prime minister and the 2 deputy prime ministers. That the opposite gender rule shall be applied in the expanded presidency, with the 2 seats ring-fenced for women. Major fact here, although we have said 2 seats, we just say actually that, since independence, the 2 top seats have been going to men. So the 3 that should be now put in the Constitution should actually go to women. Similarly, the opposite gender rule shall be applied in national, county governments, and all executive bodies, including during elections, to provide that where a presidential candidate is male, the running mate should be female. Or where the presidential candidate is female, the running mate should be male. Yes. Opposite gender. This pattern will follow at gubernatorial level, where the governor candidates and running mates will be of opposite gender. Women, while appreciating the contribution and delivery witnessed with the current women cabinet secretaries, proposes a 50-50 gender role balance. Technocrats from outside parliament and the members of parliament, as well as outside parliament and county assemblies, and within the county assemblies in the composition of the cabinet by presidency and the governors respectively. The Republic of Kenya should borrow a leaf from the composition of the Ghanaian cabinet, which is the best practice and the model of executive inclusivity in Africa. We further propose that a 50-50 male and female gender rule shall be applied in the appointment of cabinet secretaries and other state public offices in the Republic of Kenya to the National Executive Government Secretaries structure and the County Executive Committee structure across the 47 counties. We advocate for a mandatory 50-50 gender role application in the appointment of principal secretaries, high commissioners, and diplomatic and consular representatives. And finally, on my part, women submit that the 50-50 gender rule shall be extended to all other presidential appointments, including commissions, boards, task force, etc., etc. We would like to see, actually, today we are very encouraged when we sat here and we saw the front table, that this is what we want to see. We want women on that high table, where decisions are being made, where resources are being shared. The woman carries the burden of the family and of the country. We thank you very much.